Christos Razdayitsya, Slavit Yeho. Christ is born. Let us glorify Him. This is Father Basil again, doing another short podcast. I know I've been negligent in doing my podcasts and video podcasts lately, but I've been busy. Plus now I'm sick with a cold, but hopefully it'll get better soon. So, I'm going to read chapter 25 of Genesis. And remember, we've been going through Genesis the last couple months and talking about the creation story, Adam and Eve, and of course Cain and Abel, then about Noah and all those people. And now and Abraham and Sarah, and now we're in chapter 25. Abraham took another wife whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, Joksan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Joksan was the father of Sheba and Dedan. The sons of Dedan were Asherim, Lanisam, and Eliamim. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanoch, Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. Abraham gave all he had to Isaac, but to the sons of his concubines Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and he sent them away from his son Isaac eastward to the east country. This is the length of Abraham's life, 175 years. Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar the Hittite, east of Mamre, the field that Abraham purchased from the Hittites. There Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. After the death of Abraham, God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac settled at Ber Lahai Roi. These are the descendants of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's slave girl, bore to Abraham. These are the names of the sons of Ishmael, named in order of their birth: Nabaoth, the firstborn of Ishmael, and Kedar, Abhiel, Mibsham, Mishma, Duma, Masa, Hadad, Tima, Zitar, Naphish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, by their villages and by their encampments, 12 princes according to their tribes. This is the length of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. He breathed his last and died and was gathered to his people. They settled from Havilah to Shur, which is opposite Egypt in the direction of Assyria. He settled down alongside of all of his people. These are the descendants of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham was the father of Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Paddan Aram, sister of Laban the Aramean. Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord granted his prayer, and his wife Rebekah conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it is to be this way, why do I live?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, "2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples born of you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other. The elder shall serve the younger." When her time to give birth was at hand, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, all of his body like a hairy mantle. So they named him Esau. Afterward, his brother came out with his hand gripping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, while Jacob was a quiet man living in tents. Isaac loved Esau because he was fond of game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the field, and he was famished. Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stuff, for I am famished." Therefore he was called Edom. Jacob said, "First, sell me your birthright." Esau said, "I'm about to die. Of what use is the birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear it to me first." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. And Esau despised his birthright. So this is the story of Isaac's sons. So the grandchildren of Abraham. Isaac, of course, was the son of Abraham of Sarah, and then Isaac married Rebekah, and Rebekah bore twins, Esau and Jacob. And Jacob and Esau were the grandchildren of Abraham. So, the story about the birthright is actually very important, because in the Jewish tradition, whoever had the birthright, the firstborn always got everything. So the firstborn male always got everything from the father's inheritance, or the most. So by taking the birthright, by tricking his brother Jacob, was now going to inherit everything from Isaac, which, as we'll read in the later chapters, would cause a lot of trouble, cause a lot of issues between the two later on. And we'll read about the struggles Jacob had with Esau and his twin brother and stuff like that. But this is all showing us the way to Jesus Christ, because these are all relatives of Jesus that we talk about in the early Bible. So Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, these are all, they were the ancestors of Jesus. So these stories are always, preparing the Jewish people for Jesus coming into the world. And, we might think, well, these stories don't really mean anything to us today, these Old Testament stories, but to the Jewish people, they meant a lot, because the Jewish people were always the people of God, and they were struggling to do God's will, just like we do today. Even though we are Catholics, even though we are Christians, we don't always do God's will the way we're supposed to, by our name. The same as the Jewish people. The Bible is a story of the Jewish people's struggle of being submissive to God, of being obedient to God, and how sometimes when they weren't obedient to God, as we'll see in these stories that we're reading, sometimes it caused them a lot of grief upon individuals, upon families, upon their entire nation. When they started worshiping idols, when they started not following God in different ways. We even saw that before with Noah and the people of the world at that time, who were very evil people. So God put the flood on the earth because mankind was so evil, and he started over again with Noah and his family. But all through the history of mankind, we will see that when we don't follow God's will, bad things usually happen to us. And this has always been the case right from the biblical times. We have to follow God's will to be blessed, to be given that eternal life in heaven. So anyways, we'll talk more later. God bless.